back to service. We had one Sunday break, isn't that so? Alright, so service continued, it resumes this morning. And to devotees online, welcome. As is customary, take flowers. Yeah. Sat Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswatyaye Namah. Om Shanno Mitraha Sham Varunah Shanno Bhavata Aryama Shanna Indro Brihaspati Shanno Vishnu Rurukrama Namo Brahmane Namastivayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmahamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Maham Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Bole Shri Gajanan Swami ki jai. Bhai jaiye, please be seated, devotees. Devotees, this morning we will go straight into our Bar Akshar mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Remember, we visualize that Virat Swarup, that universal form, as we say the sum total of all forms. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते 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 वासुदेवाय वासुदेवाय बोलिए श्री वासुदेव भगवान की जय. Devotees, puja will be performed on the normal journey. So we firstly concentrate on Gajanan, Matang Muk Mahaganapati, Vigna Vinayak Siddhi Dayak. We glorify this aspect of divinity as puja is performed. Om Mahaganapati Namostute Matanga Mukh Namostute Shiva Girijasute Namostute Omkarishwar Namostute. Bear in mind, devotees, Mahaganapati. Who is Mahaganapati? Mahaganapati is the same as that Virat Swarup, Brahm, not infinite. Undifferentiated Brahm. Ganapati, differentiated Brahm. The Lord with a form. Just remember the concepts what we understood. Mahaganapati is the infinite Brahm who manifests himself as Ganapati with a form. So the form Ganapati is no different from Mahaganapati, but it's good to understand the concept. And as we have been saying, Aham Brahmasmi. The very same concept when we worship Gajanan. Who is Gajanan? In one sense we say the Lord of Wisdom. But in a sense, Gajanan is Atma. Gajanan is Atma. Each and every one of us. So when you do kirtan, you worship devotees, you have to understand it's not just singing. It's a journey that you're on. You're trying to identify with your true nitya. Om Mahaganapati Namostute ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। मातङ्गमुख नमोऽस्तु ते। मातङ्गमुख नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोऽस्तु ते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। मातङ्गमुख नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। हे शिवगिरिजासुत नमोऽस्तु ते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोऽस्तु ते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ महागणपति नमोऽस्तु ते। गौरी गणेश उमा महेश शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश। हे गौरी गणेश उमा महेश शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश। शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश। शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश। पार्वती नंदन सिद्धि गणेश। ओ शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश। शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश। पार्वती नंदन सिद्धि गणेश। शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश। शिवनंदन गणपति गणेश। गणपति गणेश। ओ गणपति गणेश, ओ गणपति गणेश। बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। Devotees, we concentrate on Mata Devi. When we say Devi, we refer to all aspects of the goddess. Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali, any form. Devi. But specifically, I would like you to concentrate on Gauri Parvati Devi. Jai Jagajanani, Jai Shankari, Jaya Bhuvaneshwari, Gaja Gauri, Jaya Shubhakarani, Jai Vardayini, Jai Shubharamani, Trishul Pani, Jai Jagajanani, Jai Shankari, Jai Jagajanani, Jai Shankari, Jaya Bhuvaneshwari, Gaja Gauri, Jaya Bhuvaneshwari, Gaja Gauri, Jai Shubhakarani, Jai Vardayini, Jaya Shubhakarani, Jaya Vardayini, Jai Shubharamani, Trishul Pani, Jai Shubharamani, Trishul Pani, Jai Jagajanani, Jai Shankari, Jaya Bhuvaneshwari, Gaja Gauri, Jaya Bhuvaneshwari, Gaja Gauri, Jaya Shubhakarani, Jaya Vardayini, Jaya Shubhakarani, Jaya Vardayini, Hey Jaya Vardayini, Ma Jaya Vardayini, Hey Jaya Vardayini, Jai Shubhakarani, Jai Shubhakarani, Jaya Vardayini, Jai Shubharamani, Trishul Pani, Jai Shubharamani, Jai Shubharamani, बोली सियार शक्ति जगदम्बा माता की जय. Devotees, we concentrate on Bhagwan Shankar. Simple bhajan. Should be able to join me. Feel free. Jai 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 Tripurari. Jai 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 Tripurari. जय त्रिलोचन जय दुख मोचन. जय त्रिलोचन जय दुख मोचन. जय मंगल करी. जय 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 त्रिपुरारी. जय त्रिलोचन जय दुख मोचन. जय त्रिलोचन जय दुख मोचन. जय मंगल करी. जय त्रिपुरारी. जय त्रिपुरारी. मुक्ति प्रदायक शरण तरंगे. शेष जटा में शोभित गंगे. मुक्ति प्रदायक शरण तरंगे. शेष जटा में शोभित गंगे. अंग बभूतर माये बोले. जय कैलाश विहरी. गले मुंद की माँ कथे नम्र गछाल. भस्म तनु साजे. गले मुंद की माँ कथे नम्र गछाल. भस्म तनु साजे. तू भी चंद्र सोहे भाग. दिनक दिन काल डमरू बाजे. दुष्ट निकंदन हे. जय जगवंदन हे. दुष्ट निकंदन हे. जय जगवंदन हे. जय त्रिशूल हरधारी. Devotees, so as you prepare to do Havan, we do Panchakshar mantra. Very, very powerful mantra, please, Bhagwan Shankar. So, feel the presence of the Holy Name. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Mahimam. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Rakshamam. Om Namah Shivaya. शिवाय पाहि माम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय, ॐ नमः शिवाय, ॐ नमः शिवाय रक्ष माम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय पाहि माम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय रक्ष माम्। बोले श्री उमापति महादेव की जय। We do Havan. Take a flower, concentrate on the fire. Om ang jwalit mukhe arun mata varun pita Shandil gotra pavakanam agni devai namostute. Om agach deva devisha tejo rashi jagatpate kriyamanang maya pujang grihan sursattama. Om nana ratna samayuktam kartaswara vibhushatam asanam deva devisha pricharitam pratigrihitam brahmagnaye namah avahayami sthapayami pujayami. Offer the flower by on the palm leaf. Right. Offer water on the fire 3 times. Om Gangas Chaiva Godavari Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhi Kuru Shuddhodak Snanam Samarpayami. Gayatri mantra everybody. Harihi Om Tat Sat, Harihi Om Tat Sat, Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Swaha.
Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Swaha.
Om Prajapati Swaha Idam Prajapati Idam Namama. Om Indraye Swaha Idam Indraye Idam Namama. Om Agnaye Swaha Idam Agni Idam Namama. Om Somaye Swaha Idam Somay Idam Namama. Om Bhu Swaha Idam Agni Idam Namama. Om Bhuva Swaha Idam Vayavi Idam Namama. Om Swaha Swaha Idam Suryay Idam Namama. Om Ganganapate Namah 11 times.
Om Gam Ganapatye Namah Swaha. 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 Om Gam Ganapatye Namah Swaha.
Om Hrim Shrim Chandikaya Namah.
Om Hrim Shrim Chandikaya Namah Swaha. 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 Om Hrim Shrim Chandikaya Namah
Om
Swaha.
Krim Kaliyay Namah.
Om Krim Kaliyay Namah Swaha. 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 Om Krim Kaliyay Namah Swaha.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Mata.
Shri Mahalakshmi Mata Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Om 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 Shri Mahalakshmi
Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha.
Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha.
Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha.
Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya.
Om Shri Suryaya Namah.
Om Shri Suryaya Namah Swaha. 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 Om Shri Suryaya Namah
Om
Swaha.
Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. 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 Om Namah Shivaya Swaha.
Om Brahmagnaye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Ishtadevaya Swaha. Om Shri Kuldevaya Swaha. Om Shri Asthandevaya Swaha. Om Shri Gramdevaya Swaha. Shri Vastudevaya Swaha. Sarvadevata Sarvadevi Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. O four. Get the beliefs. Mrityunjay mantra. And as we have been saying time and again, this mantra we should all chant it on a daily basis. Mrityunjay. Mrityu means death, Jai means victory. Bhagwan Shankar, he is Mrityunjay Bhagwan. He protects us, as we say. Chanting this mantra, especially in these very dangerous times in which we live, is a must. It's compulsory. If you fail to do it, then you expose yourselves. Now, when we use the Bij mantra, if you can learn the Bij mantra, it's very helpful. Om Jum Saha. That is one of the 5 mantras given by Lord Shiva to praise him. Bhur Bhuva Swa, the 3 planes of existence: physical, astral, causal, the earthly plane, intermediate sphere, heavens, wherever it may be. And when we chant the mantra and we reverse it, it's like a circle you make. You build that energy shield around you. It is not just a style, it's a technique. So understand what you're doing. It's important to understand what you're doing, do it with the right understanding, the right attitude. Then it will have the true effect. So I don't want to just chant it mechanically. Understand what you're doing. Shiva is all everywhere, all pervading, every single atom of creation. But we are here. If I surrender to him and this way, Om Jum Om Saha, Om, you go with that, Bhur Bhuva Swa, and then you reverse. Wherever I go, that circle is coming back. I am at the middle of it. Everything encompasses me. I have the protection of Holy Nath. One of the reasons for reversing a mantra technique. Okay? Boliye Shri Umapati Mahadeva ki. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha.
Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe. Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. Urvarukam Iva Bandhanam. Mrityur Mukshya Mamrita. Om
Shivaya Swaha.
Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Om Haum, Om Jum, Om Saha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityurmukshyamamrita. Om Swaha, Om Bhuva, Om Bhur, Om Saha, Om Jum, Om Haum, Om Namah Shivaya Swaha.
Offer some bay leaf, neem leaf. Om Namaschandikaya Swaha. Put the one side in there. All right. Google sugar, rice. Pick up a spoonful, a handful, and sprinkle around. Om Sarvadevta Sarvadevi Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Good. Do Achman 3 times. Om Sarva Parpaharang Divyam Gangeyang Nirmalam Jalam Achmanang Chamayadatam Grihatam Purushotamaha. Om Brahmagnaye Namaha. Take a flower and fan the fire towards the baby 5 times, Timurtis. Om Banaspati Rasodbhuto Gandhadhyo Gandha Uttama Agheyang Sarvadevanang Dhupoyam Pratigrihitam Brahmagnaye Namah. Bow to the fire. Right. We take a flower again, we concentrate on Lakshmi Ma. Om Namostestu Mahamai श्रीपीठे शूरपूजिते शङ्खचक्रगदाहस्ते महालक्ष्मी नमोस्तुते। ओम लक्ष्मी करोतु कल्याणम् आरोग्यं सुखसम्पदां मम शत्रुविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते। सिद्धेश्वरी महालक्ष्मी माता नमो नमः। Put everybody the hands up. बोलिए श्री महालक्ष्मी माता की जय। Devotees, as we have been saying time and again, man's life can be compared to a square. A square has 4 equal sides, 4 equal angles, and for the square to be in equilibrium, all the angles have to be equal, 90 degrees. If a square is twisted, one needs to rectify only one angle, and the other angles would automatically fall into place. And it's quite obvious that the angle that needs to be rectified is the spiritual angle. If the spiritual angle is rectified, all other aspects of man will fall into place. So, spirituality is very essential. And why? Because each person, in essence, is divinity. Aham Brahmasmi. So, as we have been saying, to function away from divinity is deviant behavior. We want to free ourselves from bondage, meaning what? I want to come to that point of realization that I am divinity, that Lord is in me, I am Him. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. So the sages, devotees, over and over, they keep impacting upon our minds, admonishing us. You want to free yourself from the ocean of metempsychosis, ocean of duality? What you need to do? Seek that Lord. Chant His name. The power of the name is indescribable, inexpressible. The name has the power to free us from bondage. So, just to remind us, the sages tell us, Teru avagamana chuti jai shamaras piru mere bhai. If you really want to cross that ocean of metempsychosis, avagaman, birth and death, oh brother, the sages appeal to us, chant the name. Bring the substance of the name of the Lord, Ram, Sham, whichever name. Teru avagamana chuti jai shamaras piru mere bhai. Teru avagamana chuti jai shamaras piru mere bhai. Duralabh नरतन पाया पूरब जन्म कमाई. दुर्लभ तूने नरतन पाया पूरब जन्म कमाई. अब काहे हरि भजन भुलाया, अब काहे हरि भजन भुलाया. अवसर बीत जाए शमरस पियु मेरे भाई. तेरो अवगमन छुटी जाए शमरस पियु मेरे भाई. निश दिन काम करो बहल हो सम हरि नाम बिसारी. निश दिन काम करो बहलो सम हरि नाम बिसारी. जन्म मरण कबहू नहीं छूते, जन्म मरण कबहू नहीं छूते. माया नाचन जाए शमरस पियु मेरे भाई. तेरो अवगमन छुटी जाए शमरस पियु मेरे भाई. शुकदेव शौनक मुनि पिया शंभु पियो मन लाई। शुकदेव शौनक मुनि पिया शंभु पियो मन लाई। नारद व्यास आदि सब पिया, नारद व्यास आदि सब पिया। नाच नाच और गाई श्याम रस पियो मेरे भाई। तेरो अवध मन छुटी जाए श्याम रस। सूरदास तुलसी और कबीरा नरसी मीरा बाई। सूरदास तुलसी और कबीरा नरसी मीरा बाई। बहरे भाव श्याम रस पिया, बहरे भाव श्याम रस पिया। निस दिन रहत लुभाई श्याम रस पियो मेरे भाई। तेरो अवध मन छुटी जाए श्याम रस पियो मेरे भाई। तेरो अवध मन छुटी जाए श्याम रस पियो मेरे भाई। It's very difficult to assume a human form. दुर्लभ तूने नर्तन पाया, पूरब जन कमाई. Because of past life good karmas, we are born as human beings. Out of the 8,400,000 species of creation, the human form is the highest. Bari bhagi manush tanupava. So, being born as a human being, having that blessedness to be the highest form of creation, then why do we forget that Lord? It is through His grace we are born as human beings. Don't forget, every single moment that passes by never comes back. Avasar beat jaye. Circumstances, opportunities go by. Time, tide, opportunity do not return. Once you are gone, they're gone for good. This is why we are told, oh man, why are you wasting your time? Nisadin kaam karo by elusam. On a daily basis, whatever work you have to do, carry out your duties. Work is worship, duty is God. But at the same time, you always reflect upon that divine. Don't forget Him. Make all offerings, all actions an act of offering to Him. And then we are told, you know what is our problem? Janam maran kabahu nahi chhute. We don't give up birth, we don't give up death. Dancing in Maya, the Lord's elusive potency. We think we are happy. We think we are happy. But you're caught up like the parrot in the cage, lost. We drink of the pitcher of the poisons of materialism, not realizing that all these things we leave behind. We need to follow the examples set by those sages who have left their footprints in the sands of time. Sukdev Muni, who related that Bhagavad Mahapuran to Raja Parikshit, the son of Ved Vyas, Sukdev Ji is. Sukdev Muni. Saunak, great sage Saunak Ji. Sanakadik, Narad, even Bhagwan Shankar. Day in, day out, they chant the name. They remain drunk, intoxicated as it were, through the power of the name. Surdas, Meera, Kabir Das, Tulsi Das, Narsi, Mirabai, all these great devotees, likewise, they understood the power of the name. They imbibed of the substance of the power of the name, drinking that, dancing, clapping, losing all sense of time, place, circumstances, attaining to that ultimate state, freedom from bondage. So the question is, why don't we follow the same example? Is there any other way? Devotees, there was a great individual, well, an individual who became great. And his name was Ratnakar. He was a thief. He was a robber. And of course, coming together with that would be a murderer. So he maintained his family and himself by robbing others, as we see happening in society today. Society today would give up these characters. But you see, when you come into contact with holy people, life can be transformed in the twinkle of an eye. Ratnakar once tried to rob the 7 sages, Saptarishi, who saw in his destiny greatness. No person is born bad. Nobody. Factors change them, and they can be transformed. The sages questioned this individual, why are you attacking us? And his response was, I'm taking care of my family, and this is the only way I know. So he said. But the question put to him was, you are doing wrong things, sinful actions. Will your family share in your sins? But he wasn't sure. So he was told, find out. And if both these, could anybody share in your sin? I have said over and over, everybody alone. Jaisa karni, vaisa bharni. This Ratnakar, much to his horror, realized that nobody is going to share in his sins. People could eat you out, they could drink you out. They're not going to share your suffering. They're not going to share in your sins. When you see you commit your sins and so on, you have to face up to the reactions on your own. He was very despondent when he came to realize that. Very despondent. Then he surrendered to the sages who told him, listen, once there is life, there is hope. Take the name Ram and chant it. Chant it with fervor, with deep religious fervor, feelings, intensity. And through the power of the name, you'll be purified. Life will change. And that individual devotees, that moment, a defining moment in his life, coming into contact with these holy ones. They say satsang can transform herons into cuckoos. If you read our mind. I don't want to make it too negative. But some people, as herons, do satsang, and for the whole life they remain herons. They don't transform. So there's a difference in going satsang and doing satsang. It's like a person go to a pond, and very beautiful and everything else, but you put your toe into the water and the water too cold. You're sitting outside shivering. You don't want to duck. That's what happens to many, many people. They don't duck into the pond of satsang devotion. Then how could you purify yourself? How could you be transformed? You have to answer a question, devotees. And I keep saying nobody could do it for you. The effort you put into it determines what you get out of it. And scriptures don't be wrong. We are the ones who don't do what we have to do in the right way. So devotees, this individual sat down there, and he was so illiterate. Ram he couldn't say. He reversed it. Mara. Mara means to kill, which was what he had been doing for his whole life. But his mind was on Ram, whatever, that divine force. And he sat there, Mara, 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 Mara. And if you try it, Mara, 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 becomes Ram. Reverse it, becomes Ram. Devotees, he sat still one spot. And for a very, very long time, stabilizing body, mind, he focused upon that supreme force, chanting the name. And as Ramayana tells us, ants built a nest around him. But he was unaware of it. What we call Niruddhaman, the mind in the highest state. No distractions. Withdrawing all the senses, like a tortoise pulling in all his limbs. Hard shell on the outside. This was how he was. He shut out materialism, the material world. He insulated himself through the power of the name against all negativities. Even the Lord's Maya, ineffective. This is the power of bhakti. And many, many years afterwards, the sages were passing back. And that part of the forest where this individual was, there was a glow, a brilliance about it. And we have said time and again, when you pray, when you make right sacrifices, your aura around you becomes different. There is a glow around you. There is a glitter around you. This is difficult to express. But the sages were aware that this is Ratnakar. And they said, oh Ratnakar, come forth, come out. The power, they brought him out of that ant's hill, so to speak. Ant's hill. And so he got the name Valmiki, he who came out of the ant hill. Devotees transformed, totally transformed through the power of the name. So here you have to understand, nobody is so bad that it can't be transformed. But they have to be prepared to make sacrifices. You can't be transformed just like that, by the wave of a hand. Self-sacrifice, self-effort. Valmiki transformed. So devotees, his mind was always on that Supreme Sri Ram. And as a matter of fact, he is referred to as Adi Kavi. One day they said he was taking his bath and he saw two birds appear, sitting there happily, and then a hunter, a fowler as we call him, came there and he shot one of the bird. When the bird fell to the ground, this Valmiki, who was a criminal before, when he saw that, a bird being shot, it hurt him badly. It triggered something in him. And I can't recall the actual verse that he translated in Sanskrit. Right away, he blurted out something, pronouncing a curse on the fowler. Only to realize that, hey, what have I said? What have I said? Devotees, he tapped into that infinite source of energy, knowledge, language, the power of prayer. First Sanskrit composition as such, cursing that fowler. Devotees, Valmiki it was who went on to write Ramayana in Sanskrit. He who was unlettered. Where did he study Sanskrit from? But little do we realize, everything is inside of us. If we do the right actions, nothing is impossible. We can tap into all the powers, all the knowledge. Everything is in us. Why? Aham Brahm Asmi. I am that supreme divinity. But it's just that Maya is contaminating us, all the negativities, and many of us can't even understand this, no accept it. Then how could you experience it? This is where the problem is. Devotees, so Valmiki lived in the forest and his mind absorbed in the glories of the Lord. And we come to this point, here devotees, Sri Ram, Sita Mata, Bhaya Lakshman, they were sent into exile by Kaikai. So I will let's pick up the katha from this point where they are in the forest and they are looking for a place where they can live comfortably for the time of exile. Devotees, Valmiki Muni, in this part of the forest, Sri Ram is approaching his hermitage. Valmiki Muni devotee, day and night, what was his attitude? The sages always, they chant that name. Ram bhajo sab kam tajo. Ramachandra Raghubira, Ramachandra Ranadhira. Ramachandra Raghubira, Ramachandra Ranadhira. Ramachandra Raghubira, Ramachandra Ranadhira. Ramachandra Raghurama, Ramachandra Paramdhama. रामचंद्र रघुराम रामचंद्र परधाम रामचंद्र रघुनाथ रामचंद्र परमनाथ रामचंद्र रघुनाथ रामचंद्र मम नाथ रामचंद्र रघुराम रामचंद्र मम धाम रामचंद्र मम बंधु रामचंद्र दया सिंधु रामचंद्र मम बंधु रामचंद्र दया सिंधु रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा रामचंद्र रघुराम रामचंद्र परमधाम रामचंद्र रघुनाथ रामचंद्र मम नाथ रामचंद्र मम बंधु रामचंद्र दया सिंधु रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा Devotees, this great sage Valmiki spent his time like this, drinking of the substance of the power of the name. And here, on this particular day, he saw Sri Ram, Sita, Bhaya, Lakshman coming to his ashram. You can imagine his joy. He who was such a wicked character, today he is seeing that Lord with his eyes. And the question is always, when will I see that Lord? Anybody knows? When will I see him? When can we be sure that we are going to see that Lord? Devotees, we can do whatever, all the karmas, all the pilgrimage, whatever. How do we see that Lord? When will he come? This is a kind of question in the heart of that great sage Valmiki and all these sages, devotees. When? You ask the question, can you answer it? When are we, each individual, when are we going to see that Lord? That is if we want to see him. Hare Rama milana kabahu Andesh vahay lagi rahe Hare Rama milana kabahu Andesh vahay lagi rahe हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू। आहा देहिया रचव में इंद्रिय न पहिया। देहिया रचव में इंद्रिय न पहिया। भव के पंथ चली हाँ भव के पंथ चली संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू। आहा पाप निशी में जीवन इंद्रिया। पाप निशी में जीवन इंद्रिया। भजन के भोर भई हाँ भजन के भोर भई संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू। आहा वेद पुराण ग्रंथ बहु व्यंजन। वेद पुराण ग्रंथ बहु व्यंजन। पाकर व्यंजन बही हाँ पाकर व्यंजन बही संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू। आहा जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्ति तुरिया। जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्ति तुरिया। जितो तब राम मिली हाँ जितो तब राम मिली संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। हरि हे राम मिलन कबहू संदेश वह लगी रहे। So devotees, we all want to find that Lord. And don't forget, we say so because we are in a state of duality. I want to find God. But we have to come to the point of non-duality, where you come to realize, Aham Brahmasmi. But until then, there is duality. I'm looking for my God, looking for my God. Different things I do, different practices I carry out. Devotees, some practices, even though villages maybe, they bind us. How can I find that Lord? When can I reach to that Lord? And it's a case of not what you do only. Everything that we do is supposed to lift our state of consciousness. This is the point I want to emphasize. Not just putting flowers and doing havan. These things are supposed to take us to a certain point. These practices are carried out, and the vote is, if you stay in the same material plane, how are you going to find God? Jagrata, Swapna, Susupti. You have to go beyond these levels of, lower levels of consciousness. We call them levels of ignorance. These three, Jagrata, Swapna, Susupti, they comprise 7 levels of ignorance. Bij, Jagrat, Mahajagrat, Jagrat. Jagrat, Swapna, 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 Jagrat, and Susupti. All these are stages we have to go through. If you're in a state of ignorance, how are you going to find God? Now, I like to mention all these things because we have to understand what we're doing now. You think by just lighting a diya, doing some job, you're going to find God? No way. No. These actions help us to lift our consciousness. And if I'm still the same way, where I'm going to find God? To reach that state of turiya, absorption with the Lord, I have to go beyond the 7 levels of ignorance. Just think and how difficult it is. So when you see a sage, like Tulsidas, say like Shivarima, etc., you think it's just by doing the devotion? The devotion took them to a certain level of consciousness, the highest level. The highest level. And then they identify with the master. It is more a state of consciousness, a state of awareness spiritually than the physical actions. I want devotees to understand that we do the actions, we do the job, we do the yagya, we do the pilgrimages. Those things don't help you find God. Those things prepare you to go to different levels of consciousness. Every puja I do, I'm supposed to lift myself to a different level. And if I don't, like top spinning in mud. You have to understand what we mean by that. When I do a puja, I have to continue. It's like a flame, a lighted diya. I have to keep on putting fuel. Otherwise, it's going to burn out. Many people do a puja today, you light the flame, and you go till next year. By the time you come back, flame done, diya burn out too. You have to start all over. Where are you going? So this is what we call dhriti, constancy, patience. And you have to keep on your practice. You don't fall back down. Most of us fall back down. This is why we can't experience something to a different level. Valmiki was one such devotee. He attained to that state and he kept on adding fuel. Ram, 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 until Sri Ram is before him. Ram Milan kab hoy? When am I going to meet Sri Ram? That's my question, and I'll find my answer. That is, but I know I want to meet the Lord. I don't know about you. Everybody on their own journey. And why I want to meet him, devotees? Not to ask him for anything like the material things, no? One that bhakti, whatever, when you reach to this point, the world has no substance. Has absolutely no substance. But you won't reach there unless you go through processes. Okay? So I'm talking from a different level here. Valmiki, totally different state. Living in a shack in the forest, but the world at his feet. Here devotees, Sri Ram came before him. What a joy it was. And there was a wonderful interaction. Then Sri Ram asked the great sage Valmiki, "O sage, my consort, my brother and myself have to reside in the forest for 14 years. I want you to indicate a spot in this forest where we can reside, where we would not cause inconvenience to any of the sages. For by causing pain, inconvenience to the sages, generations suffer the consequences." So devotees, there is generational srap also. Ancestors, or we antagonize the genuine holy ones. We play games with them. You get a srap, not only you, but generations to come suffer the consequences. You don't play games. Don't play games. Right? And just remember, as Pradeep said, Koi la kari chaturai, karam ka likhamiti nari bhai. You can't rub it off. It takes effect. So Sri Ram is setting the example. I don't want in any way to cause any inconvenience to the holy ones. For their curse, their srap, like fire, to burn generations to come. Please indicate to me a spot, O Holy One. Valmiki Muni devotee was asked by the Lord to indicate a spot for him to reside. What was Valmiki's response?
मोहि के रहल कह मैं पूछत सकुचा
जहाँ न हो तह देहु कही, तुम ही दिखाओ धर्म सिया पति रामचंद्र जी की जय शरणम। वाल्मीकि जी बोले, हे रघुनाथ जी, हे प्रभु, मुझसे आप पूछते हैं कि कहाँ रहूं? मैं पूछते सकूं चाहता हूं कि आपको कौन सा स्थान रहने को बताऊं, क्योंकि आप जहां न हो वहां रहने के लिए आपको स्थान दिखाऊं। Now devotees, Valmiki Muni smilingly he said, "O Lord, you have asked me for a place to reside. It is with embarrassment I am asking you, O Lord, tell me where you are not. Tell me where you are not. And if you can indicate a spot where you are not, then I will tell you reside there, O Lord. Then I can tell you." This alone tells us, devotees, how Valmiki Muni considers that Sri Ram. And who is Sri Ram? Sri Ram is Brahm. Ram, Brahm, Paramarti Rupa, Avigat Alak Anadi Anupa. He is infinite. Ab we say Mahaganapati, Ganapati. Parameshwar, Brahm, Sri Ram, manifest Brahm. He is the divine. And this divine devotees, even though in a form occupying a point in space, whatever we say, the Kanchukas, niyati, kal, place, time, knowledge, whatever it may be, yet devotees, he is the infinite. And Valmiki Muni recognized that infinite to pervade every single atom of creation. Hari Bhyapak Sarvatra Samana. Where is God absent? Where is God absent? When we understand this devotee, this is why we say, he can walk without feet, he sees without eyes, he listens without ears. This is how he is. He's all pervading. Nothing is hidden from him. He's the eternal witness. He's in, he's within, he's without. Inside, outside. Everything. This world is but just a differentiated state of that Supreme. This is how Valmiki considered the Lord to be. And this is why we keep saying, we can't hide from God. He sees everything. He knows everything. Who are we fooling? Who are we fooling? He is that eternal witness. So devotees, here Valmiki Muni in no uncertain terms established that fact that he considered Sri Ram to be Sagun Brahm, that infinite in human form. So this devotees, he put Sri Ram in a spot here. Prabhu, tell me where you are not. Tell me where you are not. What was Sri Ram's response, devotees?
सुनी मुनि बचन प्रेम रस सहनी, सकुचि रहम मन महनुष कहनी। वाल्मीकि रामा वाल्मीकि हंसी कहानी बहुरी, पानी मधुर यमीय रस गुरी। जय राम श्री राम, जय राम श्री राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम राम, जय जय सीता राम, जय जय राम।
प्रेम रस में साने सुनकर श्री रघुनाथ जी सकुचा कर मन में मुस्काए। वाल्मीकि जी ने हंस कर फिर मीठी अमृत रस भरी वाणी कही। Devotees, when Sri Ram heard the words of Valmiki, imbued with love as it were, when a sage is in this state, he is the essence of love, to put it simply. That love is in his heart. He does everything with that love, which is the real cord to bind the Lord. So the words of Valmiki imbued with love. Sri Ram smiled embarrassingly. For how could he say that I am not here, nor am I not there, when he is all-pervading? Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. So he said nothing. Then Valmiki Muni smiled, and he spoke words, mithi, sweet, amrit, nectarian, rasbhari, words that are filled with sweetness, nectar. And devoted, these words, I want you to understand, it is not really for Sri Ram. Sri Ram is eternal. He doesn't need nectar. Who these words are for? Huh? When we listen to these words, we absorb the words, assimilate, imbibe of these words, then this is what happens to us. Following the teachings that have been put forward, we attain to that state of immortality. The words are for us really, to come to our true nitya. Identity, our identification in oneness with the Lord. So these words, devotees, not so much for Sri Ram, it's for all of us. And just a few will mention where the Lord would reside, so to speak. In other words, where his presence will be felt most effectively. Devotees, Valmiki saying, Prabhu,
जिनके श्रवण राम जिनके श्रवण समुद्र महन कथा तुम्हारी सुभग सरिन जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम.
Sunhu Ram ab kahu Nikita. Valmiki Muni said, Oh Prabhu, listen, I shall indicate spots to you whereby Jahan Basu Sir Lakhan Simeta, you, Sita and Lakshmanji shall reside. And devotees, this is where it's very important for us to understand. He used analogies. He said, Jinke Savan Samudra Samana, Katha Tumhari Subhag Sarinana, बरही निरंतर हो ही न पूरे तिनके ही तुम कहे गृह रूरे. Sri Ram said, Oh Lord, sorry, Valmiki Muni said, Oh Lord, all the rivers and streams flow to the ocean, which has an infinite capacity for holding water. The ocean doesn't overflow. Similarly, O Lord, all your glories, whichever form, and I'm saying whether it's Shiva Katha, Devi Katha, Ganesh Katha, Sri Ram Katha, Krishna Katha, same one divine. All these glories of yours, Valmiki is saying, are like rivers and streams. The individual's air is like the ocean. That individual who has an infinite capacity for listening to your glories, who has an insatiable appetite to listen to your glories, they listen and listen and listen and never get fed up. That person's heart is a pure spot. Which idea? So where? Right inside of here. Right inside of here. Now devotees, this will have different levels. But to put it simply, he speaks first of the sense of hearing. Gyanendriya. And we all know how very easy it is to be distracted. I mean, some people are developing, they like to listen to Katha. Some after a while they get fed up. Some in Katha, but they don't hear Katha. The mind strays. If you someone talk rubbish whole night, they listen whole night. How do you expect to find that Lord in your heart? One of the characteristics of a devotee of God is that he loves to listen. He has an insatiable appetite to listen to the glories of the Lord. One of the ways you can analyze yourselves. Look into the mirror. Are you like that? To listen and don't get fed up? If you are like that, then that heart is a pure spot for the Lord. Valmiki Muni said, Prabhu, dwell in such a person's heart. So devotees, if anybody thinks you're like that, we'll test it out. One day we'll sing from morning to evening every katha, and we'll see what will happen. You know and I know, you can't take it. This is not putting you down, and being practical. Very practical. If you see you go to Ramayana, 8:30, you happen to cause that, everybody watching, they watch already. When you go stop by, when you go done by, you like the Katha? Socialization, these other aspects, very superficial. These are the things we gravitate towards. And Katha is incidental. You can't tell me God inside your heart. Now, the Lord is there, He's always, you are divinity, but you're not going to experience it. No. To identify with it, you're not going to identify with it. This is why we fall back down into the earthly plane, so to speak, materialism. So for a few moments we're in a place of devotion, we feel good. But there's a limit to which we could go. Devotees, and I draw the attention to Dhundhukari, who, Mahapapi, in spirit form, his karmas, Pindakaram done everywhere, nothing could save him. But Bhagavat was done for him. Bhagavat, fast poet, And we have that story where this bamboo post with 7 knots were there, and that spirit took its place in that bamboo post. And when Katha started, Gaukaran, his brother, Dhundhukari's brother, reading Katha. How they do Katha long time devotees, Bhagavat? Not from 9 to 11, and sometimes we take the puja from 9 to 10, and we from 10 to quarter to 11, Bhagavat done. Eat, same thing evening, same thing in the night. And we say we're doing Bhagavat. Naina Bhagavat you're doing? Call out Bhagavat? We do not know what is sacrifice, devotees. Sacrifice. When long time they would do Bhagavat, they would start 6 o'clock in the morning and read until lunchtime. Read. Sit down and listen. They'll take a break and then read again till 6 o'clock in the evening. Holy. If we do that, people say, boy, you want to kill me? You kill me? Yeah. How do we expect to be free? No gain without pain. Devotees, sometimes when we think we are great devotees, we can't make comparison. Where are we? Where are we? And if you don't put a bhajan in between, but the katha dead, he even sang a bhajan self. Tamasha, entertainment, we call that devotion. No. This is why devotees, we are in the state that we are in. Nothing is hidden. I keep saying that. All right? You may go and do whatever you want to do, but devotees, where is the attitude? Now, even if, say, we have an hour and a half, whatever we listen, when I leave, that katha should be in my head. It should be in my heart. And I'm sure you have heard something called jap without jap. You hear Sri Ram katha, Sri Ram's katha. When you leave, you go Ram, Ram, Ram in the mind all the time. You understand that? Time, place, circumstances. Yeah. But the Ram is inside of you. Devotees, in 7 days' time, Dhundhukari was liberated. He assumed a celestial form. Even Gaukaran was not liberated. And when the question was asked, the divine messengers came to take Dhundhukari to the above regions. How come, O Narayan Parshad, O messengers of the divine, Dhundhukari, Mahapapi, nobody bothers this fella. And he alone going? Gaukaran, who organized Yagan, he read for the 7 days, the entire Bhagavad. He not going? What is this? And then the Narayan Parshad messenger said, O Gaukaran, the reason why Dhundhukari is going, the only one liberated, because he is the only one to listen with 100% attention, unwavering mind to the Katha. It purified him, it liberated him. Devotees, now sometimes we listen, something make it attract the mind, you listen. From the time you see that thing, you go on again, mind go on again. Isn't that so? Sometimes you hear, sometimes you don't hear. In and out, in and out. Now we say like the kite. People like to fly kite. Are you flying kite without having a kite? The mind is the kite. Ducking all about. And many times the kite are you and all too. We know that. And then you say, God, I'm praying so much and nothing happening. You saying you're praying so much. When I said when I started, God is all pervading. We can't fool him. He knows. He's the indweller, devotees. He's in every one of us. And he knows if we are listening, we're not listening, what we're doing, what attitude. He knows everything. We can't fool him. But here we are told, if you want to have that Lord in your heart, feel his presence, listen to Katha. And elsewhere in the Ramayana it is stated, why the Lord manifest? Why? He manifested himself to remove the burdens of the earth, yes. But to also create these wonderful leelas, wonderful kathas, that by listening to them, right, one is able to avoid all of life's pitfalls. You can free yourself from bondage. Just listen, devotees. But you think that easy? Easy. And I've always maintained, I honestly feel, from some people, Ramayana more powerful than William. Yeah, you can't sleep, insomnia, start reading Ramayana. Same time you start to snow. Clock off same time. Power Ramayana. Yeah? No listening. And devotees, now, sometimes you may say, I hope they hear. I want each person to ask yourself if you're doing it in the right way. Don't worry about anybody else. No? Now, I am reading because I have to read. And I'm pointing it to you. And I'm saying to you, I myself, when I go Ramayana with Papa, I'll find a corner to where I can lay my head properly. And from the time Katha start, I don't sleep away. In those days, no music and thing now. You follow? Young boy, 10, 11 years ago in Ramayana, and they're not translating, only Hindi. But my father's sweet voice remained in my ears. I can never forget that. Something remain. Devotees will sleep away, right? But as you get older, start to get this substance. I will sit, I will listen, and my eyes closed. Sometimes people think we're sleeping. You're not sleeping, no? Listen to every single word the Pandit is saying. At a different stage you reach. You can't sleep. You cannot sleep away in satsang. Are you there yet? Song like Shrek, right? Are we there yet? Devotees? So here is a solution for us to get that Lord into our lives. And simple. Control the sense of hearing. Listen to the Lord's glory. Don't listen to nonsense, foolishness. And the more you get substance of these devotees, the less you want to hear nonsense. Right? Now, I don't want anybody to feel a how and thing. Sometimes it happens to me in a different state. We finish yag and so on. And then people come, Guruji, so on, some shukni style talk. It's a good thing I don't cuss, It trip you. You want to be in a state by yourself, absorbed. This is one of the reasons why in recent times, from the time I finish, I want to go home. I want to be by myself, in my head. I don't want to hear no nonsense. And sometimes you wonder. People here sit down praying and so on. And when everything finished, this is the problem. Sometimes they can't wait. Baba, jhave himta, jhave him. You wait to get jhave. If you listen to Hari Katha, you take part in puja, where you need jhave? The power of the name. No, we believe in stupidness, nonsense. And then expect to find that divinity, that Supreme Lord. Devotees, you're on the journey, You have to intensify it. Understand what I'm saying to you. Now, you have to know how you think, how you behave, whatever, and do critical self-analysis. And when you reach to the point where you don't hear no nonsense, you prefer your katha, even bhajans, you're growing a little bit. Analyze and look into the mirror, see where you're at. So devotees, the sense of hearing, very, very important. And look at how beautiful bhajans we have, kirtan, all these things. And you know what? They say in this age, Kali Yuga, the easiest, the safest, the surest, the best way to please that Lord, sing His glories. But even that, they are traps. Because I'm singing and I want to show how good I could sing. I want to sing better than you. I'm craving to sing. I want to sing, Not because I want to glorify God. No, I want to show I could sing. That devotion? Is that devotion? Like tamasha. If you want to glorify God, you could sit down anywhere. You don't have to have a mic in front of your mouth to sing, Many years ago, how much power they had, but who had the mic in front of their mouth? People go in yag and you go in. Who had the mic in front of their mouth? Everybody should have a mic. You going for devotion? You telling me that? No. Right? If you have that devotion, wherever you are, mic or no mic, as a matter of fact, mic is a distraction. You sit down and sing. Between you and your Lord, you feel His presence. Attitudes, devotees. We all have experienced to some extent the power of kirtan. That is one part of it. That is what the Lord said later on. But the first part of it is listening. And devotees, the second part, He said, those who use their sight to look upon holy spots. Holy spots. Not physical thing. There's a bird they call the chatak. The Chatak devotees will leave water all about, gaze at the sun. This Chatak devotees, it is totally absorbed when that sun is in Swati. When the sun is in that constellation called Swati, rain will fall. Swati ke boond, that's ecstasy. Ecstasy. But this bird is craving for that darshan. Nothing otherwise. Nothing distracting them. Yeah? I can remember a few years ago, many years when we went to India, I used this example already. Very big Shiva Murti. And hey, the Murti big, eh? The Murti big, eh? That tripped me, eh? Why are you watching the size of the Murti? See what you get caught up with? 85-foot Hanuman Murti. Murti big, eh? It's nice, eh? What about the small Hanuman? Very nice? Then what you look at, the material thing, the physical thing. Understand where I'm coming from? Understand where I'm coming from? A point comes where you don't see the size. You see nothing like that. You see a divinity existing, which you identify. You crave for that. When the sight becomes purified. And devotees, the tongue. There's the bird they call the hunts. When the hunts dive into the pond, normally people dive in pond and they catch fish and things, no? Right? And fish. Whatever kind. When the hunts dives and picks up, it picks up pearls. Pearls. So, Sri Ram, Valmiki is being told by Valmiki is telling Sri Ram, Lord, the person who uses the tongue as such, like the beak of the hunts, when he speaks, whatever, your praises, your glories. Nothing else. Yasha tumhar manas bimala. The pure nectar, nectarian quality of yours, your glories. The person who chants such a thing, dwell in such a person's heart. So devotees, I honestly feel that I'm feeling God a little more and more inside of me. Now, a long time I can't say that, because when you say I want to sing and show how good I could sing. I didn't say for everybody, we all go through those phases. When you start off, you want to sound good, you want to make everybody feel good, you could sing, you could well sing, what. And then you realize that what that is. You could sing well good, somebody better than you. So you go beyond all that. And now you come inside, you sing. Whoa, whatever come out, is what's inside of here. It's a totally different level. totally different level. So devotees, it is called, what we call for is internalization. You have put everything inside and bet anything. Well, have this right attitude. Here, control of the senses. Right? Hearing, sense of sight, sense of the tongue, Gyanindriya, Karmindriya, devotees, the hands, the feet. Valmiki Muni explained all that. Put it simply, devotees, that if we use these faculties that we have, you know, in the right way, getting away from materialism, turning towards spirituality, purifying the Gyanindriyas, the Karamindriyas, Bhagavan says, purifying the mind. Valmiki Muni said, Prabhu, the heart of such a person is pure. Dwell in that person's heart. Okay? So devotees, at least you can't try, I mean, you can work on all if you want to, but at least one, try one. Start off. And to me, well, in this case here, devotees, the sense of hearing is easily distracted. That's why I have sound vibrations, you know, loud, kirtan, bhajan, these things attract the mind, holy mind. And listen to the Lord's glories. And this is why I've been trying to put to you, when we do the kirtan, understand the meaning? That is Harikatha. You're not only singing. You're not only singing, you're understanding Harikatha. Hey Ram, hey Gunadham. Ram is Atma. What is Atma? Gunadham, the abode of all virtues. Yeah? Kaushalya Tanaya, Satvik Prakriti, Sri Ram, spirituality. Ayodhya Shiromani, this is the Ayodhya, the human body, the jewel. Ayodhya Shiromani, Ram. You do your kirtan, it's not hard, no? When you see a custom and the tune become part of you and everything, when you chant devotee, this is what you feel now. You start to experience in your own head. It's a different level of kirtan. Not clapping and singing and chasing mosquito. Yeah. What you do. Okay? And scriptures tell us that. So therefore we have to become a little more real, a little more practical in what we do. Right? And get into it. Bring the senses under control. And devotees, what is self-control? Self-control is sense control. You can control the senses, the 5 senses of perception, 5 organs of action. Mind, that is mind control. That is self-control, discipline. Yeah? And devotees, I always feel very happy when we have the opportunity to do kathas. You know what is dakshina? Or I think dakshina, put a little dakshina, that is okay, you can do that. But what is dakshina for me, devotees? The opportunity to reflect upon and to speak, to chant the glories of the Lord. There is nothing better than the spiritual remuneration than chanting the glories of God. If I do it in the right way, with the right intent. That is dakshina for me. Scriptures tell us that. A different level. Not physical. See? So devotees, we are on the journey, everybody, and sometimes in between we need to shake up ourselves a little bit, to try to understand. So we are told in this way, the sense of smell, we do havan and so on, tulsi, inhale that. You purify the sense of smell. Yeah? Prasad, taste prasad, sense of taste. Devotees, the feet, go to holy places, places of pilgrimage. The hands, worship holy ones, serve your parents. Mata Pita Seva. जिन माता पिता की सेवा की तीर्थ स्नान न कियो. Devotees, the entire body is used. And then, see, Valmiki is saying, the person who pays respects and, fulfills his debt of gratitude to the ancestors also. Tarpan hom karahi vidhinana. Dwell in such a person's heart. He who takes without giving is a thief. So therefore, all is part of Pitra Karma and so on. Remember to do that, to repay the debt of gratitude to our ancestors. But not only offering physical water, how you live. How you live on a daily basis. That is Pitra Yagya. Devotees, in other words, what we are being told, Valmiki Muni, he's saying to all of us, you want the Lord in your heart, you want to feel Him? Live this life. Live the principles. Purify the senses. And all the puja and so on we do are aimed towards that. You keep it up, you keep on putting fuel in that flame, and devotees, you bet anything, you're going to have a totally different perspective in this world. Totally different. Totally different. Then you will wonder, well, you wouldn't wonder, I mean, you won't waste time thinking, but it appears. Why that person thinking so? If you come here, look at how different you could see. Devotees, you're climbing a mountain. When at the foot of the mountain, how far could you see? When you climb right up, you're seeing further and further. If you go right up, you get a panoramic view. And you know, if you stay close to something, you see all the defects. When you go right up the mountain, you see any defects? Everything appears perfect. When you climb the mountain of mental advancement, this is how you come. Panoramic view, peace. That divinity is everything, everything. A state of peace you can't experience otherwise. So devotees, we all have started the journey. I just thought I'll put this to you this morning and get you to understand that unless the senses are brought under control, and you know, the state of consciousness, you go beyond the levels of ignorance, the levels of jnana. The 7 levels of jnana, which I mentioned to you. The first level of jnana is that questioning of yourself. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? In a spiritual sense. You're fed up with the world and you want to find yourself spiritually. That is not a VAPS. It happens to you, it is how you have become. That is the first stage in jnana. First stage in jnana. Self-inquiry. Daily basis is attitude, not once in a while. Then you need first state of jnana. Anybody there yet? So you see where we have to go? It's not to discourage you. It's to point out the journey so you can intensify. Okay, devotees? So, Valmiki Muni, very much aware. And he, in his compassion, pointed us to all of us. And his word is such, if we have these qualities, the Lord will be found within the heart. His presence will be experienced. It depends on us. Okay? So, continue the journey. Continue the journey. Life is nothing but an empty dream unless one realizes that's supreme. We make preparation for the final Havan. Devotees, we glorify the divine as we proceed to wrap up this morning's devotions. Remember what we say? Glorifying the Lord. We say Ram Ram Sita Ram Ram Chandra Pahimam Prabhu. I'm surrendering. Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Krishna Bhagwan, Shivaji, Hanumanji, all different aspects of that same one divinity. I recognize you in all these forms, O Lord. I surrender to you. Ram Ram Sita Ram Ramachandra Pahimam Ram Krishna Govinda Hari Pahimam Krishna Krishna Gopala Vasudeva Pahimam Atulita Baladhamam Hanumat Pahimam Atulita Baladhamam Hanumat Pahimam Lakshmi Sharada Sarva Devi Pahimam
हर हर गंगाधर नीलकंठ पाहि माम। हर हर गंगाधर नीलकंठ पाहि माम। बोलिए श्री राजा रामचंद्र की जय। It took a little bit one side. All right. Little bit. When there's 5 more times, I will tell you. Om Ganganapataye Namah Swaha. Say Gauri Mata Swaha. Say Prithvi Mata Swaha. Panchlok Paldevaya Swaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya Swaha. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Suryari Navgrahadevaya Swaha. Brahmagnaye Namah Swaha. Om Hrim Shrim Chandikaya Namah Swaha. Om Krim Kaliyai Namah Swaha. Mahalakshmi Mata Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Shrim Hrim Saraswatyai Swaha. Om Shri Ishwari Devi Swaha. Om Shri Parameshwari Devi Swaha. Om Shri Shitala Devi Swaha. Shri Mahaanyapurna Devi Swaha. Om Shri Mangala Devi Swaha. Shri Chandi Devi Swaha. Shri Mansa Devi Swaha. Om Hrim Shashti Devi Swaha. Sarva Devi Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Shri Hanumate Namah Swaha. Sita Ramachandrai Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Radha Krishnaya Namah Swaha. Ishtadevaya Swaha. Kuldevaya Swaha. Asthan Devaya Swaha. Gram Devaya Swaha. Itarkaram Pradhan Devaya Swaha. 5 times again. Vastu Devaya Swaha. 33 crore Devta Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Sarva Devta Sarva Devi Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Anand Swarupai Brahmane Namah Swaha. Om Sri Guruve Namah Swaha. Offer up all. Om Sarva Devta Sarva Devi Bhyo Namo Namah Swaha. Wash your hands in Ithali. Throw water, Chelsea. I do Achman 3 times, pass water only 3 times. Om Sarva Papa Harang Dibyam, Gange Yang Nirmalam Jalam, Achmanang Chamaya Dattam, Grihatam Purushottama, Brahmagnaye Namaha. Please all stand, devotees. All right. Pick up the leaf you have there. Yeah. We concentrate on Bhagwan Shankar. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shambhavaya cha Mayubhavaya cha. Namah Sankaraya cha Mayaskaraya cha. Shivaya cha Shivtaraya cha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Purnamidah Purnamidam. Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Sarvam Vai Purnagvam Swaha. Do Achman again. Om Sarva Papa Harang Dibyam. Gangeyam Nirmalam Jalam. Achmanang Chamaya Dattam. Grihatam Purushottama. Brahmagnaye Namaha. Achmanam Samarpayami. Bow to the fire. Both of you. All right. So devotees, we join together in Arati.
दयालु कृपालु कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक यंगोचर, तुम के प्राणपति, स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस विधि मिलो दया में, किस विधि मिलो दया में, तुमको मैं कुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख हरता, ठाकुर तुम मेरे, स्वामी ठाकुर तुम मेरे। अपने हाथ उठाओ, अपने हाथ उठाओ, द्वार पर तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। विषय विकार मिटावो, पाप हरो देवा, स्वामी पाप हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ावो, श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ावो, संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट, क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
Let's join in conclusion, devotees. शिव हरे शिव राम सखी प्रभु, त्रिविध ताप निवारण हे विभु। अज जनेश्वर यादव पाहि मां, शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरं। शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरं। प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं, प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलम्। मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वजा, मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि। ओम आवाहनम न जानामि विसर्जनम, पूजां चैव न जानामि, क्षम्यतां परमेश्वर परमेश्वरी। ओम लाभस्तेषां जयस्तेषां कुतस्तेषां पराजया, येषामिन्द्रि वर्षां हृदयस्तु जनार्दन। ओम गच्छ त्वं भगवन् अग्ने स्वस्थाने कुंद मध्यतः, हुतम् आदाय देवेभ्यः शीघ्र देहि प्रसीद मे। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय, ओम तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, ओम मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरि ओम। गर्व से कहो, गर्व से कहो, गर्व से कहो, बोलिए श्री स्वाहा माता की, बोलिए श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की शुभमस्तु। Blessings to all kindly seated devotees. And this morning we say blessings to Mala and Chelsea, yeah, mother and daughter. They performed Havan this morning. No special reason, right? All right. Blessings to both of you. And Chelsea, it's nice to see you accompanying mommy performing puja. That's very good. I'm happy with it. Keep it going, okay? So blessings to both of you. And devotees, next week Sunday, special day, right? Next week Sunday is Mother's Day? All right. So next week Sunday is Mother's Day. And, members of the Gyan Deepak, they are preparing a special program for Mother's Day. We won't have a lengthy, we won't go later on our normal time. So maybe we'll have a shortened service and have the program in honor of mothers. So we want to invite everybody to join us, special day, and we'll give you enough time to go back home and be with your family. Enjoy your Mother's Day also. All right, so there is an invitation here. SWAHA Om Shakti Mandali from the Savannah Brewery presents a 3K walkathon fundraise. So I guess that it will have fun in between. If anybody want to go on, next thing you see, you get heart attack and so on, you know what I mean? We don't want that to happen. So when I see 3K walkathon fundraise, I mean it's enjoyable. Right? It's on Sunday, 28th of May, 2023, at Avan West Savannah. The start time, 7 o'clock. Registration, $100. And they see free breakfast and water for all participants. So the $100 really for your breakfast and water, I think. Yeah. So all proceeds for temporary renovations.
The date changed to the 21st of May.
21st of May.
Yeah, that changed.
All right, so the 21st of May. Sunday, the 21st of May. All right, 7 o'clock. So you're invited to participate in that. It's up to you, those of you who would like to do that. And people who like to work on so on, if you want Gyan Deepak to do a walkathon, we could do it too. Yeah. So, but we don't believe in 3K, 10K or none. All right? Okay. So devotees tickets are available. You can avail yourself of them. Mother's Day program, we want everybody to come bring your mothers with you. If your mothers are alive. If they are not alive, you want to bring them, still bring them. We'll have a different level of celebration. I get my mother to come too. All right? It's a very emotional day. At least once for the year, at least, you think specially of mother. Though every day should be Mother's Day, right? But we want everybody to come and let's celebrate Mother's Day especially. So Mother's Day, we always celebrate. Father's Day, we're going to cancel. Which we always do every year. Okay? So we look forward to seeing all of you next week Sunday. Children, bring out your parents. Parents, bring your children with you. Let's have a wonderful service next week Sunday morning. All in praise of Mother. So we look forward to seeing you. Blessings to everybody. Stand up. Mala and Chelsea, tell them, what did I tell them? Jai Sitaram. So devotees, have a safe journey back home, everybody. And I just want you to bear in mind what I'm saying to you. How important it is that you have to stick to prayer right now. Stick to prayer. I'm impacting that on your mind. I have reasons for saying so. COVID gone. I mean, it won't affect us so much again. But other things are there. But be very, very careful, everybody. Very, very careful. You see what is happening in the United States right now. Up to yesterday evening, 198 mass murders for the year. Up to yesterday evening. In Texas yesterday, 9 have been killed. Mad people all about. And before long, mimic men here will start doing the same thing. Be careful, everybody. Do a Mrityunjay mantra jap. Stay close to the divine. You won't regret it. Okay?
Sorry to end on that kind of note, but I want you to intensify your prayer, everybody. Blessings. All right. May I buy no ticket? All right. So I have yours.